and a very warm welcome. I am Gursheen Garland and you're watching Firstpost. In the next few minutes, I get you the top updates from around the world, only here on Fast and Factual. Let's get started. We begin with the latest happening between Iran and Israel. US President Donald Trump announced a ceasefire between the two countries. In a post on his platform Truth Social, President Trump said that Israel and Iran had fully agreed to a quote-unquote complete and total ceasefire. The US President said the ceasefire would be a phased 24-hour process, beginning at around 0400 GMT on Tuesday, with Iran unilaterally halting all operations. He added that Israel would also follow suit 12 hours later. After announcing the ceasefire, Trump took to Truth Social and posted that Israel and Iran came to him almost simultaneously. He added that both the nations will see tremendous love, peace and prosperity in their futures. Echoing similar sentiments, Trump further stated that the two nations have so much to gain and yet so much to lose if they stay away from the roads of righteousness and truth. Israel agreed to the American proposal for a bilateral ceasefire. This was according to a statement issued by the Israeli government. The statement revealed that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu convened the cabinet to report that the nation had achieved all its objectives in Iran. The Israeli forces had eliminated hundreds of besieged operatives and assassinated a senior nuclear scientist. According to the statement, Israel had removed Iran's dual immediate existential threat from nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles. However, the narrative has taken a turn with reports of ceasefire violations coming in within hours of Trump's social media platform. According to Israel Defense Minister, Iran launched missile towards northern Israel. However, Iran denies the claim. The response has come via the Iranian state media. Amid the changing situation, Israel told its people to go into shelters and stay there until further notice. Israel Defense Minister has also instructed the forces to respond forcefully to Iran's violation of ceasefire with intense strikes. As per reports, 2 ballistic missiles were intercepted by Israel. The Israeli Defense Forces also posted that air raid sirens are being sounded in northern Israel. The Israeli army has said that despite ceasefire with Iran, the danger persists. The army spokesperson in a television press conference stated that forces remain on high level of alertness and preparedness for a powerful response to any violation of the ceasefire. Israel's airport authority announced that the country has reopened its airspace for incoming flights. This is following a night of missile barrages from Iran. Authorities had shut the airspace due to the multiple waves of Iranian missiles hours before the ceasefire. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi stated online that Iran's military aggression towards Israel continued till the last minute. He expressed his gratitude towards the armed forces who remained ready to defeat their country until the last drop of blood. World leaders have hailed Trump's ceasefire announcement between Iran and Israel. Saudi Arabia welcomed Trump's truce announcement. German Chancellor hailed the ceasefire as a very good development and appealed to Iran and Israel to adhere to it. Japan's chief cabinet secretary stated that peace and stability in West Asia are extremely important for Tokyo. Now, hours before Trump announced ceasefire, Iran today morning launched a salvo of missiles towards Israel. The missile attack killed at least 5 people in the Beersheba city. Residents woke up to the loud sounds of air raid sirens in Tel Aviv, while many were seen heading back and forth to the shelters. Meanwhile, at least 3 loud explosions were reported in Tehran. This came after Israel issued an evacuation order for the residents. According to reports, Iran also activated its air defense systems in response to the alleged Israeli aerial threats. The Israeli Air Force carried out an attack in western Iran. The forces posted a video of the attack on X. The X handle stated that the Air Force destroyed missile launchers in Iran. They claimed that these launchers were part of the barrage launched towards the Israeli territory. On Monday, Iran launched a full-fledged attack at a US base in Qatar. This was in retaliation for American strikes on its key nuclear facilities. Trump claims there were 14 missiles fired at its Qatari base, out of which 13 were knocked down by air defense systems, and 1 was set free as it headed in a non-threatening direction. He added that Iran had given an early notice of the strikes and no deaths or injuries have been reported. The US also said that its base reported no substantial damage. Following Iran's attack on the US airbase in Qatar, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei posted an image of a burning US flag on X. In his statements, Khamenei declared that Iran would not accept or submit to harassment from any nation. Meanwhile, leaders across the world condemned the Iranian strike. Israeli military called the Iranian attack a threat to the whole world. Saudi Arabia, which restored ties with Iran in recent years, condemned Iranian strike, calling it unjustifiable aggression. Riyadh offered to deploy all its capabilities to support Doha. The United Arab Emirates also called the attack a clear contravention of international law and the UN Charter. Meanwhile, outside of West Asia, French President Emmanuel Macron called for a return to negotiations. Macron said the spiral of chaos must end and called on all parties to exercise utmost restraint and de-escalate. In South America, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has insisted on his calls for peace in West Asia. Venezuela has also proposed an urgent summit to push for an immediate ceasefire between Israel and Iran. The United Nations chief Antonio Guterres also urged for diplomacy to end the conflict. US Vice President J.D. Vance announced that recent American strikes have destroyed Iran's nuclear infrastructure, rendering it incapable of building a nuclear weapon. Vance stated in a television interview that Iran had been close to developing such a weapon, but the US action has eliminated that threat. According to the Washington-based group Human Rights Activists, at least 24 people have died in Israel and over 1,000 people have sustained injuries. Meanwhile, the Israeli strikes in Iran have killed at least 950 people, while nearly 3,400 people have been wounded. Under the ongoing Operation Sindhu, over 160 Indians evacuated from Israel have landed in New Delhi today. The evacuees arrived from Tel Aviv via Jordan. Meanwhile, 292 Indian nationals evacuated from Iran have also arrived in New Delhi from Mashhad. Officials are in constant touch with the Indian nationals in Iran and Israel. Ministry of External Affairs earlier stated that the safety and security of Indians abroad remains the government's highest priority. Protests erupted in Los Angeles against Iran's government. Marchers were seen holding American, Iranian and Israeli flags and chanted slogans in support of President Trump. Some demonstrators were also seen holding banners calling for Reza Pahlavi to become Iran's king. Pahlavi is the son of Iran's last Shah. On to business news now. Global markets rallied earlier today after President Trump said Iran and Israel had agreed to a ceasefire. S&P 500 futures rose 0.6%, while Nasdaq futures climbed 0.9%. Euro Stoxx 50 futures was up 1.3%, and London's FTSE futures gained 0.4%. In Asia, MSCI's Asia Pacific Index outside Japan jumped 1.8%, while Japan's Nikkei and Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index were also in the positive territory. Meanwhile, in energy markets, oil prices dropped as investor fears of supply disruptions eased. Brent crude futures fell 3.7% to $68.79 a barrel earlier today. US West Texas Intermediate slipped nearly 4% to $65.46, hitting its lowest level in more than a week. Furthermore, currency markets also moved. The US dollar lost some ground earlier today, while risk-sensitive currencies gained. The Australian and New Zealand dollars edged higher after the ceasefire announcement. Israel's shekel strengthened 1%, hitting its highest level since February 2023 against the yen. The dollar fell to 145.60, down 0.37%. Moving to precious metals, gold prices slipped to a near two-week low as risk sentiment improved. Spot gold fell 0.5% to $3,351 an ounce. Meanwhile, US gold futures dropped 0.9% as investors shifted away from safe haven assets. But bucking the broader trend, Bitcoin surged past $106,000 following President Trump's Iran-Israel truce announcement, which eased market fears and boosted investor confidence. This came after it briefly dipped below the 99,000 mark over the weekend. And finally, moving to sports, we begin with cricket. The first of the 5-match test series between India and England is underway in Leeds. At stumps on day 4, England made 21 runs for no loss. This after India's Rishabh Pant and KL Rahul smashed scintillating centuries and powered India to a 364-run total in the second innings. The visitors are currently leading by 350 runs. The pack of Indian bowlers powered by Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Siraj must bowl out England before 371 runs on day 5 to win the test. In football, European champions Paris Saint-Germain eased to a 2-0 victory over Seattle Sounders in the Club World Cup. After leading 1-0 in the first half, Ashraf Hakimi scored in the second half to seal the game. With this, the PSG secured their place in the last 16 of the tournament. In tennis, 4-time Grand Slam winner Naomi Osaka fired 16 aces past her Serbian opponent to record her first win on grass this season. For Osaka, the straight-set victory at back home Open Games comes less than a week before the start of Wimbledon. In badminton, the US Open begins in Iowa today. Former men's world number 1 Kidambi Srikanth leads India's campaign in the tournament. He is joined by Ayush Shetty, Priyanshu Rajawat, Akashi Kashyap and top-seeded mixed doubles pair Dhruv Kapalia and Trinisha Crasto. And finally, in Formula 1, McLaren development driver Alex Dune will take part in first practice at the Formula 1 Australian Grand Prix in place of Lando Norris. The 19-year-old competes in Formula 2 of Rodden Motorsport and joined McLaren's Formula 1 Young Driver program in 2024. Dune is also a reserve driver for McLaren's Formula E team. That's all for today. Thank you for joining us. I am Gushin Galan and we'll see you right back here tomorrow. Stay informed and stay tuned to Firstpost.